If only I was actually ready. If I can actually unmute my mic successfully. Hello, this is session number 6 of R2's company campaign. I've just hit a setting on my mic by mistake. I don't know if I've completely ruined it. I'm ruining a lot of things at the moment. It must be. Oh dear, the video's all ruined. Like, let's just hold on. We'll have to cancel the stream. We have to start again. Nah, let's just go. That is indeed Batnarkia back in Malta, which I completely forgot about. I'll have to come up with some kind of suitably angelic resurrection video effect for next time. But anyway, session number 6 of our Two's company campaign. I should not put a number in the title of the campaign. The year is 1618. It is the middle of the mid game. Well, maybe mid to the end of the mid game. So we're gonna do a quick. Anarch, you've always been alive where it really matters, but now you're alive in 2 places at once. Anyway, so I'm gonna try and do a bit of an on-the-fly recap. We're gonna start in the east, or we would if my mouse actually let me. We're gonna start in the east. As you can see, Shambhala in the ascendancy. They're dragging the Punjabi prison with them. Those two are joined at the hip. Suffering deeply are Nade Shah, the Tally Ho, Gyan Lane, Australia Major, torn in two, Aswa Mahasadar, Celestial Entente remain Chinese Emperor, though they somehow lost a war on the mainland of China to Weabalumbia. The Japanese Ascendant. Here is one of the very few Japanese states that remain. Sentenced Okinawa. Glorious Nippon is just about there in name alone. The Peyote Khanate is gone. Chigoris, they are way up there. I think they're in like 6th place. I say they're way up there. They're way up there in Siberia. They're over it in the west, nearly in Europe. They're down here in Korea. They're over here in Alaska. They're down here in Mexico. They're up there, down there, here, there, and everywhere. Speaking of the colonial fight, everyone is getting in on it. I'll show you something I just saw before we started. If we zoom right in here, there's a lovely purple colour for this is the leftist West Indies. To go along with the delegation West Indies. Hispanian Brazil, delegation at La Plata, they're trying to push into Peru. Luxembourg have landed in Panama and Central America. The southern delegation out in force in Texas, of course. New Hispania, you got Hispania and Garavdesh. They used to be fighting it out, not so much anymore if you remember last session, but we'll get to that in a second. Jabaroland, very close to becoming the first country to break 1,000 developments. Monorohan have just been sitting there not doing all that much, but by virtue of not doing much, it means they've avoided the collapse of the Peyote Khanate and the precipitous decline of the Hive, still suffering from internal conflicts. Look at this, as if I prepared this earlier. The Hive sitting at -3 stability, so we'll hop over to Europe, where Athens and Heilig Malches are suffering similar fates. Athens are on the way out. That is not Kostani taking over Athens, that is Zagreb. And Athens can't even muster enough troops to siege down Zagreb. It's not a good look. Heilig Malches, they don't have any rebels right now, but they still maintain an elective monarchy. For goodness sake, it's not going to last. Tver, allied with Lagofia, keeping Lagofia down while Tver take all the land for their Russian selves. What else are we doing? Yarnum and Rhein-Neckar, twin theocracies in the middle of Germany. Sworn enemies. What do Rhein-Neckar want? They want a bit of everything. What do Yarnum want? A bit of Rhein-Neckar. Feelings mutual. The Holy Roman Emperor is, of course, Emperor Reinhard von Kamichi. They really don't like the communists in Luxembourg, and I assume the feeling is mutual. The tolerant left, I think I skipped over this last time, but just towards the end of last session, the tolerant left actually took another huge bite out of the new Nero Empire. It's a long truce, but it's up in 6 years. Epiphany looking a bit smaller than they did before, because Garavdesh, and indeed Hispania, I didn't see Santong over there. They really took it to them. The problem being, Garavdesh is a junior partner of Hispania. Possibly the biggest game changer. The country in 3rd place, Garavdesh, fell into a personal union under the 2nd place. The tributaries in 1st place, very much looking over their shoulder. We'll have a quick summary of the score. As you can see, the tributaries just about holding on to 1st place, but Hispania gaining at a rate of knots. Garavdesh completely stopped in their tracks, as they're a lesser partner in a union. Likewise, a lot of guys falling off, like Epiphany, the Hive, all falling away. So Jabaraland, the tolerant left, catching on very fast. Rhein-Neckar in there as well. But at this point, it's Hispania's game to lose. The 1618, what have we got? We're going to save the game in 1625. That'd be a nice idea. We've got manufacturers coming up in 1650. But beyond that, we've had the big old League War, that the Catholics won. There's left not very many princes left in the Holy Roman Empire. So I think we've got 2 hours, 50 minutes now. I think we should just get down to it. As always, is the chat up? Yes, it is. I just didn't have it up on my screen. As always, shout out what you want to look at. and I'll do my best to keep cognizant of any wars going on. Now, actually, there's no major wars going on right now, otherwise I'd summarize them. The only player-built nation at war is, well, it was Australia Major. They are at war with Tidor and Kelantan. But I think they were drawn into that through one of their minor allies. Incidentally, the delegation as well have been doing quite well for themselves, just going under the radar in Europe. But this is they get a solid chunk of the English Channel. Indeed, they are dominant in the English Channel, 45%. They'll be getting a load of these colonial riches from Chesapeake Bay, from Canada, from the United States. Is Mick still live? Got a power cut? I had a power cut earlier. So maybe there's just one rolling power cut going around and it took, 2 hours to make its way from Bridgeway to Houston. Anyway, the religious map of Europe. We did show one during the intro, because it's quite interesting. You can kind of see how Judaism is being pushed back everywhere we go. Norse, butter memory. So the interesting thing is, what was interesting as well is that there was Reformed faith here, and that's just all gone as well, as the delegation have become Protestant. Now, unfortunately, Epiphany and the delegation are sworn enemies. Otherwise, that would be the perfect, Protestant alliance to try and resist this Hispania, this kind of Bourbon bloc. Teshuvah, I think, have had the caption the most fortunately forgotten about for quite a few sessions now. I think it's as soon as Hispania, or really as soon as Nicosonia, turn their interest to Teshuvah, even the tributaries could be interested. Yep. Why is Java a province of vital interest? I really don't get that, but it is. Teshuvah don't really have many allies. Perhaps they should be reaching out to Aporia. Although Aporia, with a solid set of allies, they took their chunk of Athens before they got cut off by Costania. It was fairly quiet in Europa as it stands right now. So we'll be looking out for Shambhala. Shambhala have the potential to field the largest army in the world, but they can't afford it. Essentially, I'll quickly show you this. Let's keep this going, because it makes for interesting reading in how the AI actually works. Because this is sorted by force limit. You've got Shambhala, Australia Major, the neighbours over here. Slavers Bay, of course. But when you look at the actual total armies, Hispania lead by quite some way. They are fully at their force limit. Likewise, the tolerant left are right up there, because these Western European nations, they're the only ones who can really afford to maintain their whole army at the moment. And worryingly for Teshuvah, I think I might have jinxed them, because that is 2 fully paid and fully 13 artillery there. Not so much artillery in that one there. Teodosio de Camara, but they are on the Teshuvan border. Although they remain at war with Chickasaw. No, they don't. They've just declared peace over in the New World. A whole New World. New Hispania even at that. I suppose when you've got 30k Hispanians over here, you can afford to leave your other armies at home. Luxembourg landing in Louisiana. That's going to annoy me as soon as they make that. That will literally be Luxem, Louisiana. What is Hispania's air like? A 233, it's about time. A 233 with a weak claim. Hopefully in, another 30 years we might see Roderick Revanche on the throne. So is that... hello? So an Epiphany army has gone in on Picardy. Who are Picardy protected by? No one. Just allied with Corsica. Well, Epiphany really need to get on top of expanding into these miners whenever they can, because Garavdesh and Hispania, they're not going to hold back. Indeed, Hispania want their own slice of Brittany. Who are Brittany protected by? They're an ally of Epiphany and Communist Luxembourg. If I was Epiphany, I'd be dropping that alliance right now. Because you need to take Brittany, you need this development. It's probably quite good development overall. Oh, for goodness sake. 35 development right on your border. Nonsense and estuary as well. 13 development, 26. That's on the... That land should all be coloured red on the map. Because it should all belong to Zagreb or whoever. Zagreb, yeah. I think they have a comparable army to Athens. It's just that Athens literally can't siege down Dalmatia. Nicosonia continuing to sit there doing nothing. Likewise with Mother Base. Shambhala with no truces. It's a matter of time before they strike someone. Oh, goodness me. Scores and scores of pretender rebels. Separatists all over the shop. It's not a good time to be the Emperor of China. Who are their allies? Chagoris and Shambhala. They've got some very, very powerful allies. But look at this. This is their army just melting in the face of separatists. I'll remind everyone every session. Oh, how have they got Glorious Nippon? They do have quite a few tributaries, just nowhere near enough to avoid the massive penalty they get for Mandate. And... what is it? Oh, it's the 000. They take plus 50% damage from absolutely everything. They produce 50% less goods. Massive, massive penalties. Who's in better shape right now? The Hive or the Celestial Entente? Probably still the Celestial Entente, honestly. Simply because once these pretender rebels win, or once one of them wins, in fact, these guys are... oh, this is like a Bao family feud here. Is every single general called Bao? Ah, this is why there's a Khan on the throne. And the Baos want it back. I think it was Baos who were on the throne before. Yeah, it was Baos and Khans and Baos and Khans. And now the Baos want it back. So that's actually quite an interesting little sub-story that is not played out in anywhere near the detail we need to make it particularly interesting. So, Achaemenia. You have to expect Achaemenia. Achaemenia are doing really well for themselves here. Incredibly powerful, incredibly rich land, especially in Persia. It's a lot of silk, a lot of cloth in there. Amazing resources. You have to think they'll be wanting to push west themselves. Did the Entente just break up in front of our eyes? Not really. That was just Chachao separatists. And then... oh, maybe. Did they used to have that? They might well have just disintegrated before our eyes. It's just not very interesting, is it? I assume they still hold the mandate. What they have to worry about is if Chagoris and Shambhala decide, you know what? You're just not really worth our time. Because look at this. There's 18k Weabolumbians right on the border. There's what, 12? No, there's a similar number of Celestial Entente troops. A one-on-one Weabolumbia would wipe the floor with them. As they did last session. That's despite Weabolumbia have taken exploration ideas. That's very late. I think it's a very bad idea. Especially as you can see the west coast of America now belongs to the delegation to Chagoris. I very much doubt there's anything left down here. I suppose the west coast of Australia. As the east taken by Jabari, Australia. As we see, Australia Minor. Australia Major. Continuing to build Australia Minor is what I wanted to say. As they're taking on Brunei now. I think trying to run somewhere that Shambhala won't follow and beat them up. Take all their lunch money. Jabariland. Oh, let's have a little pause of this. Oh no. In our intro videos, I've been calling Jabariland the last great hope against Hispanian hegemony. And I've given that up a bit because this is how it looks for them right now. Hispania have come after them. They want Sofala, which is going to be down here. It's a gold province around the coast. It should have decent development for development. That's still giving them a lot of gold production there. The Jubaland versus Hispania. Jubaland ostensibly on their own against Hispania ostensibly on their own. The dominions of Hispania. The Hispanian Dominion is what I really want to say there. So Jubaland, they have the most development in the game. They have 14 military tech compared to 18 military tech. Oh no, Punjabi prison. Punjabi prison are in. They are of course allied to Jubaland. Bali and Hadia in as well. The Punjabi prison would put up a bit more of a fight, honestly, if they could get their troops over. In a kind of multiplayer scenario where you could really coordinate, Jubaland do have a bit of a chance because they can just outnumber the Hispanian troops. What? That's Punjabi troops. Punjabi troops are down here. Yep, they're winning this war. I think they lost a battle, then won a battle. Because to win this war, Hispania need to take Sofala. And that's going to be a hell of an effort. It'll be a hell of an effort for any naval invasion. But as you can see, the massed navies. What actually is this? This is Anatolia. They could potentially get military access from Mother Base Anatolia, Sakalava. Oh, a big old naval battle down here. This is mostly Adrian Epiphanes, I saw, leading the Garavdesh transport fleet. But while that's going on, we'll cut back to Europe. We see Osterode going down to Curonia. Yarnum helping them out there. Anatolia had no culture, yep. Because essentially these islands start off with nobody occupying them. Not even the natives occupying them, which makes them such tempting targets. That means if they start off with a country in them, as can happen, randomly generated with custom nations, then they start off with no culture. And that's my primary culture as an observer. I feel vaguely insulted. So the interesting thing is, if Slave is big, if Hispania access, they could potentially just march all the way down into Africa. Ooh. I wasn't aware the delegation were in this war. Yeah, so the delegation in the war as well. And they just got crushed. How's the fort situation looking for Jubaland? Because what I'll point out as well is that, see that's all wasteland. But this is not a great fort situation. It means that Jubaland is just completely open to be marched into. But the best view for this is, there we go. As you can see, that is completely impassable. Hispania would have to get through Matampa first. Communist Luxembourg trying to get their slice of Mexico there. There's 5k troops in Tlapanek. I absolutely am not pronouncing that correctly. It's not even worth correcting me. The separatists in the east of Punjabi prison. This would be the one time the Tally-Ho separatists might succeed. But unfortunately, it's the Mandoan separatists who are in there instead. Because if Punjabi prison, and it looks like they have indeed sent all their armies all the way down the east coast of Africa, this would be the time, if ever there was one. So that is peace for Australia Major. It doesn't look like they've taken much, honestly. Perhaps they lost, or perhaps they took money. We can't really say from where we're sitting right here. Paragonea trying to get back to the mainland. That should be shut down soon enough. That is just Bulgarian separatists. Although Livland... Ah yes, Livland troops marching back because Osterode are all but dead. I quite liked Osterode sitting there in their gold, but as soon as they got a border with Yharnam, I think Osterode needed to die. Or Yharnam needed to die, honestly. I'm not picky. So Zagreb did almost all but assimilate Athens there, but now Steiermark are coming in on the other side. They do have enough troops to take down Dalmatia. Zagreb don't have enough troops to take it back. The Zagreb are losing this one. Kostanje, who won't... Oh, they do have a truce with Zagreb. Maybe they beat them up a bit themselves. The Kostanje will be eyeing up Zagreb now. We have to do something about these borders around the Carpathians. Like, could we not just swap, you know, Bosnia for this little bit of Hungary? And everyone be happy. Especially me. And I think that's what really matters. So Jubairland, oh hello, we have a delegation landing party down here in South Africa, but they are being seen to by Jabaris taking over the Cape Coast. Oh, the delegation have themselves landed in South Africa with a colony. I mean. But if I was Jubairland from the start of the game, my #1 goal would have been to colonize all this to stop the Westerners doing it. But that's kind of advanced strategy that you can't really expect from the AI. So that is Luanda. Communist Luxembourg. I thought that was the delegation for a second. This was a mistake. So is this going to be Southern Delegation right beside Luxem Colombia, who are managing to lose to the Aztec miners? As I suppose most of these guys have, apart from Chigoris so far. Chigoris have had the only success. When does that truce run out for the tolerant left? And indeed, who are they attacking? They are going for... Well, I know it's not necessarily modern Colombia. It's kind of Colombia, Venezuela. But it is all, as you can see, colonial Colombia. So they're trying to establish themselves in there. And they're doing it. As they've proved throughout the campaign, the tolerant left can actually do amphibious landings. So there we go. They'll have their own little slice of the New World. Whoa, Zagreb are going down, down, down. Who's Steiermark allied to? Yharnam. Of course it's Yharnam. I thought... Is that guy just called Victor? No, it's King-elect Victor von und Zugoldeg und Lindenberg. I can't wait until that guy dies. Out off. And we get Ladislav von und Zugoldeg und Lindenberg. Can Steiermark just die? Somebody kill Steiermark. Tribute, please. Oh, I remember. Tribute betrayed us. And by us, I mean riding the car. He just bailed on riding the car and he allied that with Yharnam. So this war remains ongoing. They're not going to win it without a massive push. I hope Jubairland would take the Cape Coast. That'd be fantastic. It ended. What ended? The war where? See, that's the problem. Even despite the low... Oh, hello. There we go. Even despite the low latency mode, I've got no idea what people are talking about. So, Achaemenia have attacked for Karakum against Monorohan. That's brought into Vergyan Lane Mother Base. And on the other side, Chigoris. So that could actually be quite an even war. Achaemenia, they're going for it. You can't say they're not going for it. And for Chigoris' sake, this is a war they really need to win because they need to curtail Tver however they can. But I could see this coming out as a loss for Achaemenia, simply because Tver are going to concentrate Chigoris. Monorohan could go for Chigoris as well. And indeed, look at this. Chigoris losing out for their lack of forts. They've got a fort that stops Tavar. They don't have a fort that stops Monorohan. Punjabi prison really suffering now. Tally-ho separatists are up. They do have occupations, and if I remember correctly, no, they don't have the fort. That was the fort, and that's Mandarin separatists. But should this war continue and the Punjabi prison lads down there stay defending Jabariland? Oh, here we go. That is a 30k army down in South Africa, so we could be down for some battles soon. Have Kildare died yet? Kildare have not shifted. They are protected by Hylic mulches, which is the least useful guarantee of protection I've ever seen in my life. So Steiermark forced Zagreb to return cores and take all that land back, which is probably great news for Kostania, because they'd probably rather fight Athens at 12 militia tech than Zagreb at 17. The Zagreb, in like a series of three wars, they've gotten everything, and they've gotten beaten down just to Thessalonica. So this is, again, I'm very ambitious from Achaemenia. If they actually had the Punjabi prison and their full armies on side, I think they do, well, they do a hell of a lot better. Is Tally-ho still kicking? Not really. Their rebels are. Tally-ho down to a single province, but the separatists might have a chance this time. Oh, Weabalumbia, what is going on here? They have attacked Nanyang, and they're losing. We see a lot more Weabalumbian troops on the mainland, perhaps dealing with the Paraguayan separatists. Those 9k up on Ainu haven't moved. Could Achaemenia be coming to kill these separatists? I very much hope not. Or are they coming to kill Gyan Lane? What side were they even on? Yeah, they're at war against Gyan Lane. So they should leave the separatists alone. Thank you. Oh, hello. Well, that's terrible news for Jabariland. We've checked back. They've clearly just lost a battle here. And they've lost the war goal. So that 25 plus war score they got, just all gone. They just need to mass their armies. This is going to be a slaughter if they get caught here. Look at this, the army just melts. Indeed, a complete stack wipe. What is all this doing? Just all separated out. If Punjabi prison are going to have their troops down here, at least keep them together. At least try and fight the army. At least try and protect the war goal. It's so frustrating, honestly. Europe is still as it was. Achaemenia have thrown it all away, honestly. It's an ambitious war. It was never going to work. The Jagoras are just hanging out in Gyan Lane. Achaemenia are as well, but Achaemenia, meanwhile, are getting completely occupied. This could be a complete partition of Achaemenia. They're certainly going to lose the Gulf Coast. Or the other side of the Gulf Coast. This could all drop down to Monorohan. Look at this. That's a horrendous war. It's a war of Achaemenia's choosing. It's not like Monorohan got together their allies and said, you know what, we can kill two birds with one stone here. This is Achaemenia, Sheikh Mansuhir Danayo with a 625. Diplomacy not on point. Right, we have peace down here. Safala notably still in Jabari hands. I think that's a white peace. So we're gonna see the Punjabi prison troops heading back now. But how quickly are they going to get there? They've got to travel up, past the Horn of Africa, over Arabia, past this ongoing war here, all the way back to the deltas of, you know, central India. The Hive is alive, but for how long? They're still undergoing internal conflicts. It's not a good look. Speaking of not a good look, that little stem of land there. Mono Rohan presumably have some cores left on Chagoris. Really ugly cores. You have to expect they'll be getting those back. There's Banyo with a lot of truces, but on no real major players. Epiphany didn't even take Picardy. Oh, but they took them as a vassal. Fair dues. Fair dues. They'll be swallowing them up at some point. To be fair, Epiphany really don't have many allies of their own. Luxembourg and Brittany. Rather pathetic, if you ask me. They're not going to make friends out of Rhein-Neckar or the delegation. Hansa Reich on the march, or are they? Chironi, oh, Heilig Malches, what's happened? What's happened here? Yarnum are killing them. Legofia are killing them. Kironi are killing them. So it's just a complete land grab. Legofia actually expanding by themselves for a change. 1625 was last year, so what we're going to do, we're going to save the game here. And EU4 does a clever little thing. It has old autosave. So everyone's saying lol 1625. Haha. See, with a 3-hour stream, I always want to have a little intermission. What's the format? I keep forgetting. It's this and it's 1625. But you know, who needs an intermission when you've got me doing this every 25 years? Now that we are paused, let's just have a quick recap of the current wars going on around the world, because there's quite a few going down now. Any that we should take more notice of? Not really, I think we've mostly covered them all. The delegation are supplementing their colonizing efforts. How has this happened? How has that actually happened? Well, King Roderick Revanche is in. Maybe the worm has turned. King Roderick Revanche maybe had to sell Santong to pay back his debts. But anyway, let's get going again. Duke Pietro Batnach. No allies as of yet. Enemy of Athens. Oh, if Batnachia somehow makes a comeback by taking out Athens. Mwah, magnifico. Athens with no allies. And very soon no truces. Yep, Artolia getting hit again, but that is part of the greater conflict of Curonia going in against Heilig Malches. And they brought in Luxembourg, Hansereich. Yarnum brought in Switzerland and Steiermark. So the tributaries, see all these random countries within Italy. They are all tribute. This is going to be the city of Cosenza. It's a trading city. Again, city of Bari, trading city. If it says city of, it's tributes. Pisa, I'm fairly sure. No, they're not tributes at all. But Parma are a vassal. Romagna are a vassal. It was just Genoa, really. Ooh, tribute really needs to get on that. So how's this split gonna look? Oh, hello. Why are Kildare in this war? Oh, Kildare actually declared... No, Lagofia actually declared war on Kildare. I'm an idiot. I just saw Lagofia with all these provinces down here, and I thought, that's Highlight Mulch gone. Not appreciating that it was actually Kildare being occupied. Kildare might survive this war, because to actually take Churov, Lagofia will need to take Volin, which is by no means guaranteed. So if Yarnum takes these three provinces, that'll actually look a lot better in terms of borders, which is something I can support. If Hansa get Bremen, they already dominate the trade over here. They have 81% of the trade in Lübeck, and Bremen is another estuary. Did Hansa take another province from Communist Luxembourg? I don't think so. Let's stay hovering over this for just now to see how this may or may not break down, because this is full occupations. Heilig Mulches and Kildare will want out of these wars whatever ways they can. But who's going to blink first? Because if we have a look, you can see Lagofia can't piece them out. Yarnum can take 70%, but maybe 70 war score worth, but maybe they want more than 70 war score. Curonia can take 73, but what did they really want here, did Curonia? Maybe they wanted Braslau and Grodno as well. Who are Curonia allied to? Because after this war, Hansa-Reich, Yarnum, Valencia, they've become a bit of a major ally for Valencia. Because Valencia, they need these allies to stay alive. Is Chigoris doing much? Chigoris is dying. But this war is still going on. So Chigoris and Achaemenia have easily knocked out Gyanlin. We'll jump back in here and see that Mandu did actually escape from the Punjabi prison, but the Tally-Ho did not. Caminot have a truce with Mandu. Did they just take a bunch of land from them that's potentially split? You're damn right they did. All this land just split off from the Punjabi prison to Mandu, and Caminot instantly took it all. A fantastic play. A top play. So Chigoris and there. No, if Chigoris just been knocked out, Chigoris were just knocked out. The Monoruhan didn't take back their cores, but instead took Lower Ishim, which is not something I can support. So who dropped out of here to... Well, no, Kildare have an army back. And Lagofia are massing their armies. And Hansa-Reich are over here. Right, Hansa-Reich have pieced out Artolia. The Swiss, what about the Swiss? The Hansa-Reich looking a bit better off themselves. But Lagofia's armies withdrew, and Kildare's armies were hiding. They unsieged their two provinces there. Not their capital, of course. That means that Lagofia might not get... Right, they're first to Rhone, but they're probably not going to be first to Churov, and they've lost Volin. So Achaemenia by themselves against Monorohan, Tver, and Mother Base. It's not looking great for them. Achaemenia easily the most powerful of those 4 countries, but not enough to take on the other 3. Tver especially. They're not that powerful militarily, but they have a whole lot of land. They have a whole lot of manpower just to throw into Persia. Punjabi Prison did not join that war. They are just up here taking care of Berjand. Is Tver a random AI nation? Yes. Again, Lagofia only with 16 war score against Kildare. How? Because they've lost Astrakhan. How did you manage to lose Astrakhan? Come on. It's just a stalemate here. Just everyone waiting. If I'm Yarnum, I'm happy with these 3 provinces. Because you've got Warsaw, amazing. You've got Krakow, amazing. You've got Sandomierz, amazing. Right, so is that piece over here. Monorohan looking a bit more like the brick they used to be. Mother Base have some of their former holdings back. Achaemenia still doing alright for themselves. Hispania going to war with the entire American continent. Well, potentially not the entire American continent. That is actually pretty much all of what's left of South America. Well, to be fair, the Toronto left didn't actually take any of Colombia apart from maybe Trinidad. Meanwhile, California has popped into existence under the delegation. How are we doing over here in the Celestial Entente? Not great, I would imagine. Right, so we have a truce between Mahasada and Shambhala. That's because Shambhala were protecting Shambhala were protecting Mahasada. Now they don't want to, now they're going to beat them up. So Mahasada are using this opportunity to dive in against the Hive. They've brought in Chagoris with them. So the Hive still going through masses of separatists, of peasants, and internal conflicts. So Chagoris and Mahasada are probably looking to just divide them up between them. Divide the Hive up between themselves. And then Shambhala can come in and take it all for themselves. Tolk, if you're joining just now, you've missed Monorohan winning an actual war. Achaemenia got a bit too ambitious, and Monorohan brought in his allies and pushed back the boundaries on Achaemenia and Chagoris. Athens still trying to kill themselves. Despite, what is their capital if not Athens? They have Athens, but their capital is Moria. Come on now, I thought we had an AI fix that stopped this from ever happening again. I mean, meanwhile, the New Nera Empire has disappeared out of mainland Scotland. I don't think there's been a war. I really don't think there's been a war, otherwise the truce would be longer. Or maybe we've just been going through the game that fast. If Solus thinks there was... Ah, yes. So there was a war, and the New Nero Empire are further dead. Here's the thing about the New Nero Empire, right? Look at this. Their last ruler had 0 for diplomatic skill. They've got 14 in Diplotech. And look at their ideas. The last 2 idea groups, until they took expansion, they took diplomatic ideas that they needed to fill out with diplomatic monarch power. So they took exploration ages ago, but they didn't actually have the power to fill it out. So they've just been sitting there with no ideas as well. And now they've taken expansion, which is just utterly pointless. What can they even expand to? I suppose they could maybe land in, well, they could go for Greenland. Right, who's going to break first? Well, Lagofia broke first. They've taken 2 out of 3 provinces from Kildare. Kildare have now joined the Tributaries Trade League. When you're a one-province miner, you can join the trade leagues of merchant republics. And the Tributaries, despite being the #1 in score, they remain a merchant republic. And now they have some actual protection, rather than this guarantee from Heilig Mulchers. But this is still just a pointless standoff. So the Hive... God, even the Separatists have beaten back Mahasada now. Oh no, I imagine Curonia want Braslo and Grodno. Yeah, they want everything. Because of course they do. And what do Yharnam want? They want everything. But there's literally no way for the AI to actually, you know, sort this out. So they just need to mutually say, you know what, we'll take these 3, we'll take these 3. And then we'll see who can declare war quicker next time. Oh, Gyanlane have just attacked Mahasada. Gyanlane and Kamanot going in Mahasada. It is interesting. Has Varmsund come back yet? Varmland, but not Varmsund. What did Batnarkia want? I mean, that's ambitious. Let's be honest. You're thinking big. Duke Pietro Batnarki's thinking big. I'm not so confident. So Lagofia now, did they always have this province? Did they always have a border with Chagors? Because that's dangerous. Gyanlane and Kamanot. Gonna try and wipe out Mahasada here. It's absolutely in Mahasada's best interest to just peace out with the Hive. Take... I think they've still got some cores on there. Yeah, they've got claims across the whole border. They've got a core there. Just take all that. Swivel your armies around and smash Gyanlane. Because Gyanlane, let me tell you, are rubbish. They've got amazing artillery. Oh, I remember. They've got amazing artillery and they've got nothing else. How much artillery are Gyanlane actually packing with them? Quite a lot for an AI army, actually. Have a quick jump down this playlist of music. Something we rarely get to hear. What's that? The war ended and everyone got what they had? Who could have seen this coming? The Heilig Mulches. The twin cities of the Heilig Mulches. They still have a royal marriage with Artolia. Can't see that really lasting. Who really wants their heir on the throne of Heilig Mulches? Ooh. Huns are right going in against the remains of Osterode. Good. Get rid of all this yellow. And we'll be dancing. Hansereich remain in conflict over here. The tolerant left have landed in southern Argentina. What is this? Bogota? Zarat? There's just so many greens. There's so much going on over here. It's almost not worth. Tolerant left have taken Mexico City, but nothing around it. How have they done this? Who knows? I do enjoy this, honestly. I do enjoy that the Tolerant left are the one much unlike real life, the left are the one competent force in the world. Look at this. They're not even leaving themselves massively open to rebellion or invasion at home, but they still have a very good, very large army they can just smash everyone with. Like, unlike the southern delegation in here. It's interesting, Shambhala haven't jumped into a war yet. I mean, their truce is up with Mahasada. They're paying most of their troops. They could probably just smash Gardlane, they could smash Nade Shah. They could certainly smash Australia Major. Who was that in Australia and Central America? It was... Who was it, actually? I am actually curious who Zarazar are. Right, Zarazar is this one. Because I saw green, I assumed it was Bogota. Nope. I assumed it was Barado. Nope. Nope, it's this green one, it's Zarasa. Which makes sense because Communist Luxembourg are occupying them back in turn. No, that's fine. Is that Nero? In South America? Above Belém. I need to zoom in on this flag, hold on. $20 a year. It's never gonna happen. Oh yeah, no, I'm not gonna hit that hallelujah. Who cares? Who wanted the new Nero Empire to escape? Hansa Reich have eliminated the golden threat in Central Europe. There isn't Yarnum. As a whole lot of Hansa Reich troops just waiting around in Granada and Sevilla. Who knows what for? A chunk of Cagliari. They got München. They got Munich. Munich always underwhelms me as a province. Because it's farmland, but it's grain. But at least right now it's got a level 4 fort, which will only help. The rather lacking defensive setup we see here. Oh no. Oh, that's fine. I keep getting mixed up between the Artolian flag and the Nicholsonian flag. I don't know how. Because they are so different. I was like, Castania, have you actually allied with Artolia? No, they've allied with Nicholsonia. To help them in their quest to become the most boring country in the campaign. So Mahasada did take a big chunk of the hive. Oh, an alliance with Werbolumbia. That could actually help them solidify. King Chane Khan, the 16-year-old king. Vajrayana, hold on. We see totemism almost completely wiped out while Nahuatl remains. Gyan troops in at the south. Who knows why? I'd really like it if Werbolumbia could finish off Glorious Nippon. They are a tributary of the Celestial Entente. But what are the Celestial Entente going to do? Werbolumbia have indeed lost like quite a bit of their land that used to be around here. Weeaboo North Hibai up there. Indeed, the Celestial Entente have attacked Hanseong. The one-on-one war. I could see them losing this, in all honesty. Jabaraland filling out Australia. That's what I like to see. Right, so let's have a zoom in here. Leftist Mexico. Now in full force from coast to coast. Still haven't connected up to Mexico City yet. We have Communist Luxembourg in force in Central America. Of course, we have the Southern delegation right beside them, just to annoy me. Luxem Colombia, there we go. And into the middle of this lands the new Nero Empire in a free development province. Good stuff. Have they filled out even one exploration idea yet? No, they have not. Who's their ally? Oversticht. That could be interesting. Because the next time the Tournament left declare war on the New Nero Empire, and it is going to happen, they're going to have to go across and kill Oversticht, and they might take that land. I really hope they do. Oh, Livland. So Tver have attacked Livland. They've brought in Legofia and Aporia with them. And on the other side is the Tributaries. Bit of a risk, this one. The Tributaries aren't the force they once were. As I'm sure I'll prove by watching them utterly smash the Tver armies. It's like they aren't the force they were when they won the League War by just swinging a big wrecking ball of mercs around. They got rid of most of their mercs, but that's not... I imagine this is them merking back up again, though. Unless we forget, they have negative merc cost, they have merc discipline, they've got... that's about it, but they've got good infantry. They've got quantity and defensive ideas, so they'll have huge merc armies. But this is very dangerous. Who's declared this war? This is... It's fair against... What's the actual subject? Right, Livland. Ally of the Tributaries. So, this could be utter disaster for Aporia here. Getting called into this one. Because the Tributaries are just going to concentrate completely on Aporia and knock them out. To be fair, I don't think they'll lose any land. Because Steiermark is the protective barrier between Apulia and the tributaries. So Tver are going to win this war, I think. But Apulia are going to get knocked out. Would be my assumption, would be my guess. And Tver, if they make their way through Neva, if they get Riga, we'll have a quick look. They're both estuaries and major trading ports. In fact, Tver, if they get even more control of Novgorod, they should be the dominant in Novgorod, yeah? Yeah, they're dominant in Novgorod. If they take Neva, St. Petersburg... Wait, they don't even have Novgorod yet. So this is going to really solidify Tver as a major power. And indeed, they're the second great power as it stands right now. So Tver on the up and up. Grodev's independence check, 9.3% liberty desire. The Shuva have done absolutely nothing. They remain allied with Aydin. It's a good alliance to have, honestly. But, yeah, I was about to say Aydin themselves. Not necessarily in a good place, but Achaemenia. Oh no, Achaemenia, what have you done now? They've attacked Basra. But that's brought in Basra, Aydin, and Al-Wahat. And Aydin and Al-Wahat are pretty reasonable forces by now. And Achaemenia by themselves, I think Achaemenia were well on their way to being the second greatest power in the world. So it would have been Denial 1 and 2, Hispania, Achaemenia. But they've thrown it all away. They certainly threw it away last war. They could potentially win this one. Because it's Basra they're concentrating on. It's a holy war, which means they need to win battles. They need to keep their armies together. Like, if this 1.8k gets wiped out here, that's terrible. That's utter trash. They're going to lose a lot of war score for that. And they're going to lose the war in general now. Yeah, they've really thrown it away. Right. The Kamenots with exiled troops. Hogyan Lane have pieced out Mahasada. But not very much. So little bits and pieces of Nepal. So that's 5 development. That's 8. That's 13. What a pointless war. Could they not have at least taken these provinces as well to make a nice little neat line? The way Colombia winning this war against Taiwan, but losing to Takachian separatists on Ainu. Chigoris against Chinook, or rather conquering Chinook, all the way up here. So Colombia and Alaska side by side. They'll be a fairly potent colonial force. Luxem, Central America is filling out. Need to conquer a little bit more, potentially from Cozumel, to actually make that into a colonial nation. Yeah, there's Luxem, Louisiana, just to annoy me. We should be seeing Delegation Peru rather than Delegation La Plata. But sometimes things can get a bit screwy. Yeah, this should all be Peru. But because they didn't have a Peruvian country yet, and it was right beside Delegation La Plata, or went to La Plata. Right, call out things you want to look at while I try and not die from dehydration. Hold on. No. I thought, hold on. No, it's the same war. I thought Nickelodeon and Mother Base had actually started wars. But no, they've just been dragged in. They've just been dragged in by AI far better than themselves. Lads! Oof. So Liveland, almost fully occupied. But because Ligothia are getting pushed so far back, and because Apori have been knocked out, they're barely winning the actual war. And this is the Tributeers, who I said weren't that good. To be fair, the Tributeers' mercenary armies are going to be like amongst the best troops in the world. I'm curious now. If we find the Tributeers in this list, 105 discipline. That puts them up to 112 for their mercs. You can see they'd be right up here. And that's peace in our time. So now it's just Tver. Their war score has jumped up. But it's Tver versus Liveland and the Tributeers. And that's an interesting one. So Tributeers could have just saved the entirety of Europe from the Russian threat. Well, I say the entirety of Europe. It was too late for some of us. When did this truce run out? It's already up. So if we jump back and the New Near Empire is no more, then you know what happened. Oh no! Oh, that was a question there. Do the delegation have any more claims in Europe? Well, let me answer that for you. They have a lot of claims and they are acting on them. But they have dragged Hispania-Desh into a war against Epiphany. What are their actual claims? They're not going to have too many claims, are they? Well, they've got quite a few. Who are they actually fighting against? Who have they declared war on? It is Epiphany themselves. Good. I was scared it was going to be Luxembourg. Oh, I suppose Luxembourg they'd actually take a whole lot of land from as well. So Epiphany, with very few allies reaching out to the Tributeers far too late in the day. With only Brittany and Luxembourg for company. Big old fight here. But last season's winners. Reinforcements getting cut off there. In a savvy move. Big old fight. It's Garovdesh with Hille du Kinoy at the front. Well, indeed, the defenders mustering quite a lot of force there. With the attackers slow to fire in. Hispania coming in, but is it too late? Oh, for goodness sake. For goodness sake. How long were they hanging on there just for Hispania to come in at the last second? Now, the interesting thing to me about this war is how much will the delegation actually take for themselves? And will Garavdesh take a whole bunch of land? Will Hispania get this province back here? What kind of a war is it? Is it just a conquest? Conquest of Rhymes. Oh, you can see already that the delegation are getting all the occupations down even this far. So nothing is going to Garavdesh. So Paris will fall. And not for the first time. It's like if you just zoom in on France. That looks like it could be a potentially even war. With all the development, the high development up here around Paris. But then you look down here. Asturias 43 development, Sevilla 42. 19 in Toledo. It's just not fair, is it? It's not fair. It's not on. And this is where keeping a hold of Baroir looks like an amazing move. Because without Baroir, if Baroir was Rhine-Neckars, then Rhine-Neckar, who are a rival and enemy of Epiphany, they'd be straight in there. So this war remains ongoing. The Tributian mercenaries are just roving around deep into Russia. Right, there is peace. I'm assuming they took Colm, but I wasn't paying that much attention. Or did they? What did they take? What did they lose? I was looking around, like, on the mini-map down here. Not that it actually shows you much. But the Tributiers have just saved Livland to fight another day. Ostensibly. Epiphany do not have any colonies whatsoever. They should have taken Quantity just one idea up. If they'd completed Quantity just now, it wouldn't have made much difference in this war, honestly. But it might have found them some allies. They'd have gone, oh, look at this big army, we want to ally this. Rhein-Neckar potentially gearing up for something, probably just taking out those Strobinger separatists. So back down here, Achaemenia. Yeah, they've really lost out this session. It's completely their own fault. Al-Wahat going down. Jabaraland in this as well. That's interesting. If Jabaraland could somehow get their claims on Mother Base. Rhein-Neckar will probably hit the delegation. Well, they don't have a border with the delegation, apart from Barrois. And when we look at it, allied with Hispania, I don't think that Rhein-Neckar are going to hit the delegation. Artolia, on the other hand, I could absolutely see it happening. Who is Luxembourg proper allied to? Cagliari, Curonia, Yarnum still in there. And Epiphany. But interesting that this is the only province that's gone to Gorovdesh so far. It's understandable if you're Hispania, you don't want this Liberty Desire growing. So it'll be 1650 by the time they can start to integrate. It'll be interesting to see if they do. See if they inherit, maybe. Oh, Mother Base, that's not a good look. Speaking of not a good look, Shambhala have been waiting for quite some time, and now they have struck. And the Punjabi prison have struck in a separate war. The Punjabi prison hit Mandu, which dragged in Gyanlane. So Kaminot are only up against Shambhala here. And honestly, I think Shambhala have enough in them to take on both Kaminot and Gyanlane. Gyanlane aren't much, and Kaminot not too impressive either, especially now they've taken exploration. Why on earth are they taking exploration? I mean, so they can win, they can be first to the west coast of Australia, as opposed to who? As opposed to who? The Punjabi prison picking their moment. They're going to take a whole lot of land from Gyanlane. They're going to kill Mandu. And what does Shambhala want? Well, not much. Just really want the border provinces and a little bit beyond. Kostani hit by quite a few rebels now. Have Athens kind of solidified themselves here? Guaranteed by Kostani, allied with Cagliari and Steiermark. They still have no tech. We finally have a Gorovdesh occupation, but I imagine that's just because it's land that the delegation doesn't want. Artolia getting an occupation on Luxembourg. A joyous day. Huronia have gone in on Livland. So Livland, I think, were maybe forced to give up their tributary treaty. Because you can see there's no truce between the tributaries and Livland, which means they didn't cancel it. They were forced to annul treaties there. That was what Tver did, and it's going to come back to bite them as Curonia take them over now. They have absolutely no defense, and indeed they've got Yharnam helping them out as well. Did Artolia get that province there? Can't remember which one it was. Or maybe they always had that. Who knows? But the delegation. Oof, the delegation. They bided their time. It looked like they were getting beaten in dodgy wars. And they didn't really have much of a chance except like, being quick in the colonial game. But they were quick in the colonial game, and they've used it. They've used their profits. They've allied with Hispania, and they are an actual contender for first place. I mean, if we ignore Hispania. Best of the rest. See, the delegation already nearly up into second place in the Great Power Chart. How are the institutions looking, though? Jabaraland's still not getting printing press. Printing press is the difficult one. You see all this green? They still don't have printing press. They've got global trade, but they ain't got no printing press. Ah, Gyanlane. We can see Gyanlane's kind of purpose. It was to kind of spread more institutions. And if they did happen to survive, then their artillery might help them out, but not against such overwhelming numbers from both sides. So Curonia dove in first, and they've taken most of Livland. In fact, what they've left of Livland is exactly the two provinces that Tver really want. What we want to see now, who do Epiphany still have left? They have Corsica and Catalonia. Of all countries, Corsica and Catalonia are absolutely no help in the slightest. It's time. Oh, the Tolerant Left have an ally. I'm so excited. I'm so excited for Imam Noer Turbeville and his alliance with the Holy Roman Emperor of... What a stupid game. You have to imagine that, yeah, there we go, the Tolerant Left one in. Oh, hello. Oh, hold on. Have we dug too greedily and perhaps too deep? My friend, you did not think to cross the Holy Roman Emperor and live, did you? Syndic Bartholomeus von Rennes. For it is the decree of Emperor August von Kamichi and his dear friend Archbishop-Elector Heinrich von Plotzkau, and also Friedrich von Suisse. The von Suisse have actually lasted this entire time. Well, I think Switzerland died and then they came back. But if Hispania are in this war, I haven't even checked that. That is as an almighty war. Hispania left them lying. Hispania. If we look, they've got a truce with the delegation for 5 years. They fed the delegation, then they've left them to die. That's a potentially winnable war. A potentially winnable war, and Hispania left them on the battlefield. And look at that, Yarnum even on this side. All of Germany saying, oh no, 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 no. So what do the delegation have to lose here? If we kind of have a quick look around. Obviously they've got everything they just took from Epiphany. It's anything they have anything that has a core that isn't the delegation. So they could lose a whole lot of stuff here. Indeed, well, that's just a claim. A claim for Obersticht. Artillery written on the delegation side. That's an ally. Duke Jakob Archon. And noted son, Nowhere Archon. That's an ally. I kind of want to jump in to see what the trust is for Hispania's allies. Communist Luxembourg, I'd be looking over your shoulder. The Swiss are the war leaders. I know the Swiss are the war leaders. I saw that the first time. But this is a punitive war. All that can happen here is return of cores, release of countries. This is the absolute best thing that could have happened to Epiphany. You know, following. Look at this. Slavers Bay, of all people, are trying to pay Epiphanes to stay afloat here. We could have the alliance to end Hispania, if we're lucky. What are the tributaries doing? Delegation Navy being crushed. Let's have a quick look at the actual coalition view. How much aggressive expansion did they accrue? 83, 70, 97, 45 of Yardum. Bartolia perhaps going to be knocked out of the war quite quickly. I don't think... Can Artolia lose anything from this? I'm not sure. I'm sure we'll soon find out. Their capital going down, Munster. Siege down by Rhein-Neckar. And it's not going to take too long, one expects, before the delegation is cut down to size. So the tolerant left are going after the Outer Hebrides. They have it. And they're going to go after Ireland. But what I want to see, what I very much like to see here, is the tolerant left taking Oversticht. Take Friesland, take Oversticht. Occupied by Switzerland. Right, that's Artolia out the war. And they did indeed. That wasn't even a core there. Artolia just got knocked out. Hold on, right. I thought there was a limit on Condottieri about hiring them out. Talk about literal hired guns. Goodness. So maybe some of that old friendship remains even if the alliance doesn't. Good old Serene Doge Galeazzo Mancini. Are we not going to get a price? I really want to see how much they were paying there. Why are they fighting in Genoa? Are Genoa so... What? Why? What did Genoa... Oh no, Genoa aren't part of the coalition. They're just allied with Switzerland. Imagine if you could take land in punitive wars. Or maybe you can, and I'm just an idiot. And just Switzerland took all of this. So they suddenly have all that in a major country. You can't read that. That's plus 10 discipline. That's plus 20 infantry combat. Amazing generals. In fact, if we mice over a Swiss general, look, amazing generals, even though they don't have the army tradition to support it. So, I assume as soon as we look away, the new Near Empire will be gone, and so will the delegation, but we must look away because there was action going on in India, and we've just caught the tail end of it. And Gyan Lane are very much cut down to size. Mandu are all but gone. Cabanot mostly survived that. Australia Major. What? So Australia are going for Banjar, so that's going to be this here. I'm hoping, but that is Australia Major against Jabariland, just in a one-on-one. No. Shambhala are in that war. They've attacked Jabariland. They've brought in Shambhala, and Australia Major are going to die. How are they in this war? How actually are they in this war? I'm genuinely stumped as to how they're in this war. Because they've got access from Jabariland, they're not allied to Jabariland. Anyway. It's like nothing ever happened. It was all a dream. Life was but a dream. Like nothing even happened. Great power intervention? Maybe. But then they'd have to come in against Jabbar. We just don't know. In any case, it's not a good look for Australia Major. Nicholsonia did take a couple of provinces then from Al Wahat. I think they've taken the Razgareb and Bahiria. The Shuva are remaining quiet. What's this in here? So Picardy, I think, were perhaps released. And immediately Luxembourg jumped on them. And didn't even take that land. Who owns Banjar? It is Jabariland. It's always been Jabariland. That was their main colony on the island of Borneo. Slavers Bay. Yeah, Slavers Bay always were down here, but they didn't. This gap's just been filled in, hasn't it? No, it hasn't. I'm seeing. It's wishful thinking. I really want to see Slavers Bay actually do something. They've done nothing for quite some time. As opposed to Jabariland, who are just in the thick of things today. Good to see their military tech getting up there. 16. What is everyone at, though, at the moment? 19, 18, 13 if you're Athens. You can see it's still enough to tangle with those around them and beat down those around them. But as soon as Hispania land a hefty army in Africa, Jabariland are getting beaten back. Taunt left war Nero, yep. That is not quite a full occupation, for they still have the Faroe Islands and the Shetland Islands. But remember, this war is with Oversticht as well, who did get a province out of Artolia there. But potentially there's troops over here. Yeah, a hefty army keeping the peace over here. Hefty, word of the day. I don't know why. There's a big old army over here keeping the peace for them. So that's maybe their marauding amphibious landing army. That's the Royal Marines over there. Building up of troops there for Nicholsonia. They're not doing all that much. Whoa, interesting. That we see Simeon Mita on the throne. That is the same dynasty as Aporia. So there's potential here for a personal union in the future. And that could be an amazing way back into the game for Aporia. Let's have a quick look at the Dynasty map mode then. We'll see who remains. Obviously the Khans still remain. The Baos did retake power in China. Please tell me that the Hamiltons in South America are safe. Hold on. Oh, did the horse run away? Did they disband the horse? What happened to the horse? What happened to the goddamn horse? They're not being blockaded, they're being amphibiously invaded. Just as. I don't mean to alarm you guys, but I'm struggling to get the interface back. There we go. Where did that horse even go? It's like they're not even sticking around. Like the young Fergus Hamilton. Like, what we'll do, we'll make them pretend we're hiding on Shetland, but actually, we're escaping to Brazil. And the Turbervilles and the Courtenays are just like, we see right through you, friend. Oh, there we go. They've done simultaneous amphibious landings. Overstick actually have quite an army. 16k, that could beat, especially if it's just 7 artillery and 3 infantry. But nevertheless, despite the better odds for Overstick, the Torrent Lift have landed in the Low Countries. Goodness me. What's the time? Oh god, we're like halfway through the session. I might actually faint in this heat. Because it's not just the heat, it is quite warm outside, but we have an actual trash house. Oh, what is this? A trail of destruction from Luxem particularists. But it is all particularists, it's just these one particularists. That is just one revolt that the home armies can't deal with. I assume if we look down here, we'll see a lot of Luxem armies holding down the fort in all these colonies. I'll be honest, I didn't see any there, but as we all know, I'm not particularly attentive. A particularist is a rebel from the burghers, from the burgher estate. All it does is increases autonomy. It's potentially like the least threatening type of revolt. So no truce here between Tver and Livland. So you have to imagine that war's coming up soon and we'll be seeing Livland leave this world. So the Torrent left have all but Desmond. They did not take any of Overstick, which is a goddamn shame. Did they take... Oh, Oh, the new Nero Empire has moved its capital to Brazil now. The more things change, the more they stay the same. Why can I purchase an ability? I have 4,000 Splendor. Have Iceland allied or rivaled anyone? Because this is Iceland's time. They can now jump into the Faroe Islands, jump into the Shetland Islands. This is their time. The southern delegation quickly becoming quite the force, though Chigoris in Mexico in there as well. Australia Major. Sliced up by Shambhala. Yeah, Shambhala. The power of Asia. I'm not sure, did Jubaland actually get anything? Because that is the province they were fighting over. Oh. Did this used to belong to the Tolerant Left? I don't think so. I think they've just won this fair and square out of a war. It was actually really good to see Jubaland getting into Malacca, because as we all know, because I've explained it so many times, Malacca feeds straight into Zanzibar, and Zanzibar is where Jubaland have all their trade. If you're the delegation, what do you do from here? You attack more Native Americans, that's what you do. So what's Achaemenia's next trick? They're improving Kamenot's opinion of them. Could be a decent shout. Getting another Indian ally in and just bringing like half the subcontinent after Mother Base into Monorohan. Yharnam armies on the march. There's the second Yarnish crusade against Kildare. There's one Kildare province left. There was one army left. But Niaz Stanislav Pineski is going down with the ship. What's the little purple bit? That is just an AI country. I think Monorohan have... No, the Hive have actually taken all of it back. And they've made Altashar into a vassal. So the Hive... I'm not going to say they're rebuilding. But they have won a war today, is what I'll say. That's what I'll say. They've won a war, and they're just going to have to be happy with that. Have Jagoras done anything lately? They have lost some wars today. Oh, Weabalumbia, hold on. The Weeaboo conquest of Jinju. The Celestial Entente desperately trying to get in as well. But Weabalumbia building up their mainland base. I hope in, 150 years when this is all done, this is all going to be Japanese. So said Yoshitani Satanda Senpai. No! Batnakia allied with Aporia. And what next? I mean, sucking up to Hispania, I'm not sure is a great idea. You don't want Hispania to notice you. What might the Tolerant Left be going for next? Hispania don't like him. The Tributaries don't like him. They have that alliance there with Hansareich. They're paying various Native Americans to provide resistance against Garavdesh and Hispania. So Hansareich have really secured their position. Just about as Emperor. But as a major European country as well. Their main worry is Yharnam. Who are Yharnam allied with? Everyone. Everyone's allied with Yharnam. But if they can find some way to beat down Yharnam, bring in Rhine Nakar as well, split Yharnam between them, then they're in a great position. How many reforms have passed? I doubt any have passed. Because it's all but impossible to pass reforms when you have major countries from the start. Especially when, of course, those major countries all start off Jewish. We had Orthodox down here as well. So what is this going on down here? It's Lagofia against Van Eyden and Achaemenia. Nicosonia in on this one. I feel like that's ambitious. I feel like you're relying a lot on Nicosonia to pull their weight, and I don't trust that they'll be able to. Lagofia, of course, have the Prussian monarchy. They also have, let's have a quick look at their ideas. They only really have offensive ideas. They have reasonable discipline and fire damage, which should be coming good about now, about this time in the game. And if they're only really going after Van, what's the war goal? The conquest of Guria. So they need to take Guria. Or take and hold Guria. Possible. Nicosonia has some pretty decently sized armies of their own. But the problem with Nicosonia is that they have some amazing land. Let me show you just how great some of this land is. We've got Alexandria, Domyat. This is the granary of the Mediterranean, so these are all plus to goods produced. But their trade node is Alexandria. They dominate Alexandria, but Alexandria drains out to Constantinople, Venice, and Genoa. So they've only got 29% of trade in their home node. The tributaries have 25%. So Nicosonia aren't that rich, is what I'm saying, despite their land. They're not going to be able to support massive armies. And the armies probably aren't even that good. Shock damage received, artillery combat. There's some good stuff there, actually. There's some really good stuff for late game. And so long as their armies have a lot of artillery on them, that one does. I saw one over here. This is their main one. A decent amount of artillery. They'll be doing work. Anytime I see a lot of stuff... Oh, let's have a quick pause of this. Because this is a big one. Well, I don't know if it's a big one. It's a big one. Oh, it's a big one. Let's look how far we have to zoom out to fully capture how big this one actually is. This is Yharnam going in with a crusade on Tver. Well, that's a big one. Who is in this one that isn't? Right, if I jump into Parma, let's jump into Parma. Just so we can see without messing up an important AI routine. That's a war. And that is a perfectly timed war, because Lagofia will be bringing the second biggest army, perhaps the second best army. Yeah, Lagofia bringing the second biggest army, and they are fully occupied in a massive war. So who's bringing the pain on this side? The tributaries and Yharnam kind of equal there, and a lot of minor countries that do add up. This is very well timed by Yharnam, and this is potentially disaster for all of Yharnam's enemies. Because this is a crusade. Is it? It's a purge of heresy. Ostensibly a crusade. Miltech 20 versus Miltech 19. And because it's a religious war, what matters are winning battles. And nobody's won battles yet, but the way Yharnam work, the way the tributaries work, they just have big wrecking balls of armies. And that's kind of how you're supposed to win these wars. Make sure you don't leave any like 1k troops lying around to get eaten up. Look, Curonia, all their troops together protecting these stacks, that's perfect. But additionally, because this is a purge of heresy, that means that no particular province is the war goal, and it means they can take any province they want. and it's not an unjustified claim. So they won't have the same ability to claim Aporia. But Steiermark are in this war. They could just give all this land to Steiermark. It'd be a lot of aggressive expansion for them, but they could kill Aporia. They could move on, kill Tver. Monorohan are pretty much safe from this war. Because what are these guys going to want with Monorohan? They can just send their armies, and they don't even have to send their armies, honestly. If I was a human Monorohan at this point, I would just keep my armies back. Because who are your enemies? Achaemenia? They're getting, well... Achaemenia aren't getting beaten down, are they? Because Ligofia's army is going to have to withdraw. It's all kicking off. And Ligofia are in a lot of trouble, because let me show you this. Ligofia now beset on all sides. Is that Luxembourg getting involved as well? Because why not? Is Tver having a rebellion? Not especially, it's just the Tver Cossacks. And they'll be beaten down in due course. Yeah, Aporian troops just desperately trying to escape here. If Aporia can maintain their alliances, maintain their land, their integrity of land, they've got good alliances there. They've got Hansareich, they've got Rhein-Neckar who can come in and help them against any follow-up wars. But they could, indeed, look at these. It's all Steiermark occupations. They could lose all this land. And Tver, that failed war against Livland is really coming back to haunt them. I feel like if they'd taken that land, they'd be far richer. Huronia would be far poorer, because they wouldn't have had the opportunity to take all this land for themselves. And I think Tver would be far better off. So Tver are going to tumble down the rankings here, leaving the Tolerant left in second place until Jabaraland sort out their printing press. Likewise, Shambhala, they'll be right up there. But look at that, Tver army is just a complete wipeout. The problem with the Russian countries as well is they tend to go very heavy on the Streltsy and virtually no cavalry, virtually no artillery. So their armies are going to be very easy to beat as well. Achaemenia could be taking a huge chunk of Ligofia as well. Always worth checking in on Shambhala, seeing what they're up to. Oh! Hold on. Now this is worth it. Hold on. How do you spell hallelujah? I somehow managed it last week, but not this week. Sound effect. Thank you. I'm having so much trouble with getting these interfaces back, I swear. What's the tiny green next to Hanseong? Qingzhou? It'd be good if I had mouse overs, wouldn't it? There we go. So Aporia knocked out, and it's... Oh, no. Hello? No, that's Ligofia. That's, who's pieced out there? Well, Aydin somehow knocked out. I think, yeah, Nicosonia must have knocked out Aydin. That's impressive. So it's just Van and Achaemenia, with Nicosonia doing all of the heavy lifting. Yharnam looking like a proper dragon with little feet. I can see it, yeah. Yeah. With the mouth and the breathing fire of Ligofia. I mean... I was thinking the other way around. No, in fact, I'm just still not going to say anything. Let's just stay here. We can have a full-on discussion. Right. The Achaemenia winning this war, as of course they would. Nicosonia. If Nicosonia could somehow rescue this war for Lagofia, it's actual amazing effort. There's Tver, is that Streltsy? Yeah, it's all Streltsy, nothing but Streltsy, and nothing but defeat for the amassed armies of the tributaries in Yharnam. You see, minus 33 war score from battles. So that's going to tick up to 25 as well. Yeah, Tver have been utterly annihilated. So Yharnam kind of emerging as well as a contender, or at least they will after this. Indeed, with Curonia on their side, they should be getting land out of this as well. Yharnam could even reach, you know. I wanted to say the Black Sea, but I bailed out at the last second. I wanted to double check, and then it didn't let me because it's all Gulfs and it's the Eastern Black Sea over here. But for a second I got, are you sure it's not the Caspian Sea? And I was sure, but I didn't commit. Was this the price for losing the war, giving Marathwada back to Nadeshir? Can Curonia become Prussia? I'm not sure. For a starter, they can't because they're Catholic. I assume they can't because this is a custom game. Let's have a look. Streltsy, but then the tributary army just comes marching in with its massed ranks of mercenaries and artillery. Demolished. This is great news for Communist Luxembourg, who are out killing Native American tribes. If they could win a one-on-one war against Tver, if these guys were made to drop their allies, I think Communist Luxembourg could win. Is that an 11k 3-star general Swiss army? A 6562 was that? Yeah, 6561. So a poor bit of timing on Lagofia's part. What do Yharnam actually want? This could be trouble. This could be a whole lot of trouble. Catholic zealots in the New Era Empire. The tolerant left pouring down into the Yucatan Peninsula. Yeah, if the tolerant left get all of Mexico, all this gold coming back from the colonies, with their relative dominance now pretty much assured of the English Channel. After the delegation got beat. Well, I suppose the delegation, they still have a lot of their trade. They've got the Diamond District. Oh, because they've also got the global trade hub in Antwerp as well. Easy solution. Tolerant left just need to land in the Netherlands. Beat them up. So the Celestial Entente continuing to beat on Korea, but they're probably just going to take a tributary rather than anything else. South Korea belong completely to Weabalumbia. So this patchwork. Oof, it's Van that's getting all these occupations in here. I think Guria just broke away from Lagofia, which could be amazing news. It could stop Van taking all this. But one has to imagine that Achaemenia will want... Yeah, exactly, I was about to say. All the Caspian Sea, and especially Astrakhan. Did Pip win that war? Well, he got beaten down by Garavdesh, and then got a lot of his land back by the delegation getting beaten down. Tolerant left building up their armies. So it's coming up to the point where Hispania can inherit Garavdesh. Garavdesh are pretty big. I don't think there's going to be much chance that they're going to be just inherited straight up. It's going to be difficult to integrate them. Achaemenia's armies mixing with Monorohans and the Tributeers. Sunny Zealots in there. Not a good time to be Lagofia. And this is kind of the problem you have with the Merchant Republic. Because the tributers have all this power. They're swinging so many wars to their allies' favour. But they're not gaining anything themselves for it. Because they're already over the limit of 20 provinces for this Serene Republic. For the Merchant Serene Republic of Venezia. Do they even have any wants land-wise? I mean, they want kind of the trade provinces, I guess. But look, they don't want anything to the north, anything to the east. And this isn't even their allies' land or anything like that. It's just they just straight up don't want it. So this could be ruinous for Lagofia because it's the defensive war against Van. Van have all these occupations. Achaemenia in the same war have all those occupations. God, the Tributeers even pressing into Monorohan itself. Forts are down in Bakara. Nicholsonia, I think, knocked out of this last war. So it's just Van with 98% war score on Lagofia. Not even their rebels are getting a chance. Achaemenia take a little bit of the Northern Caucasus. And this now just leaves Yarnum to mop up and take whatever they want. Athens with actual treaties. Who could have seen this coming? Communist Luxembourg have to be eyeing up this situation. This is nearly perfect for them. The only thing that could have made this better would be Hanselreich getting caught up in it as well. Hanselreich, pretty well connected. Okay, that is peace. Chironia getting quite a lot. It didn't look as bad as I thought it would. And did they not really take that much from Lagofia? They took those 3 provinces. So the year is 1650, so that brings us to a save point. I don't really use these save points. I used to use them for graphing out stuff, but I thought nobody really cared to look at the graphs. And the only thing I really cared about was seeing the complete collapse of these guys down here. Just how fast that was on the graph. But anyway, 1650, and beyond that pause, what we're going to do is have a quick look at institutions. Because 1650 is the date for manufactories, and manufactories can spawn anywhere in the world. So if... might not even have spawned yet. So if we take control of Batnarchia and the Batnarchian fleet, what are their decisions? They can become a theocracy. They should absolutely become an animist theocracy. Gouda is the home of manufactories. It's in Shambhala. And as you can see, the green filled in here is every province where there's a manufactory on the globe is where this spreads initially. Oh, goodness. Slavis Bay, actually. That is impressive. That's really impressive. In fact, I'm going to take a map screenshot of that. All that money and they're doing nothing with it. Shambhala doing well for themselves. A lot of the time, this will spawn, you know, in a typical campaign, it will spawn in Ming. Because they have so many provinces, they have so much money, that they just spread all the manufacturers throughout the land. But as you can see, the Celestial Entente, not so rich. Tolerant and left are way up there. Tver, not so much. Chigoris doing really well for themselves, compared to how rich their land is. Aydin have it covered. Teshuvah have just been allowed to sit back. You can kind of tell who's just been allowed to sit back and, you know, just build up. I'll tell you, the only reason that the tributaries don't have manufactories in all these provinces is because they've already hit the building limits. That's genuinely the only reason. So let's come back out of Batnarkia and continue on. No, while we're paused, we'll see if we've quickly missed anything. If there's any stats you want to look at, shout out just now. Just make sure we're not missing anything. Hispanian conquest of Massachusetts. We've got the Celestial still in there. We've got oh no. We have missed something. Oh no, we're missing lots of stuff in the east. So let's jump over there as quickly as we can. Webalumbia finally going in on Glorious Nippon. Finally going to secure Japanese hegemony. And then someone's not too happy about it. What is that actual war? So it's the conquest of Chengde. So this is Chigoris trying to make their way into China, and they're going to succeed. So let's keep our eyes up over here. Hanseong Separatists, they're going to do some good work. This is Chigoris with their armies here. Weeaboo allies abandoned them. Well, their allies were the Hive. That was their one ally, and of course the Hive's going to abandon them when it's Chigoris that come knocking. So this isn't a war the Weeaboos can really win. But if all they do is give up these 3 provinces here, and in exchange they get to form Japan, it's probably a good thing. Japanese ideas? Nah, Japanese ideas probably aren't as good as the Weeaboo ideas. But I'd like to see it happen. Hylic Separatists. Hylic Mulches, they're protected by Tver, but we've seen that means absolutely nothing. Allied to Lagofia and Aporia. That's not going to stop them. Lagofia is still mostly intact. They still have all their allies. It could have been far worse for them. But Tver knocked all the way down to 8th. That's at least 70 development they've lost there. Tolerant left on their way up. And for 1650, 4th of November this year is when we can see what Hispania will choose to do. Shambhala, truces are running low. Australia Major have landed in Australia. That's worth half a hallelujah. Because that's a bit rubbish, really. Chigoris all the way down here. I mean, I guess. Shambhala, is that... Was Shambhala just at war there with Chacao? Chachao. I think they were. And they've just taken a bunch here. Mahasada, are they in their own separate war? No, they're just helping out Chigoris. I feel like at this point, Shambhala might be good enough to be able to take the Mandate of Heaven and not immediately die. Because they'd swallow up China, and until they boarded Chigoris, they have enemies they can handle. And they've got solid allies in there as well, well, apart from the Celestial Entente themselves. What a mess down here. Here's the thing as well. Yeah, let's... Hold on. But here's the thing as well. This is all the same colonial region. And if we look at development, there's some great development colonial provinces over in New Zealand. These guys should be going for New Zealand. Give me a second. I'm desperately trying to take a bracelet off. So I'm a cool guy who wears cool bracelets. It's too hot for bracelets. Anyway, tolerant left. Leftist Mexico. Only down at a nice 6.9% liberty desire. I suppose the tolerant left are quite powerful in their own right. Why are they taking attrition on their armies? Why are they starting to pay their armies now? That truce has still got something to go. What happened to Luxem, Colombia? Did Bogota take some of it? Some of it's gone back to Bogota. Maybe it was separatists. Maybe it was a war. A 10-year truce. Yeah, that sounds about right for that amount of land. Do Communist Luxembourg themselves have a truce with Bogota? No, so what I think's happened here is that when your capital is in the New World... Yep, there was a lot more in Central America as well. Bogota have certainly won this war. I think Bogota have declared war on Luxembourg's Colombia, and it hasn't called Luxembourg themselves in, because both of them have capitals on the New World. Because that's the way it works. If Potosi were to declare war on Delegation La Plata, it wouldn't call in the delegation. Argentine for leftist Mexico down there as well. Do the New Near Empire only have this one province? Who has Bermuda, Garavdesh? Who has some Come on, the New Near Empire desperately needs South Georgia. It's like the way it works. It's very useful. I'm currently playing an Inca game. And if you had to fight the combined forces of all this every time... Because I had one province I needed from Portugal. And that was the one war I fought against all of these guys. But the rest was just picking off their colonial nations one by one. Because I think it's not very feasible to have to fight the entire continent just to take a couple of provinces. Whoa. So let us pause a second. So where are we at with Wea Colombia? Do they have to take Okinawa now? Because glorious Nippon are a memory. They are long gone. They are an ex-daimyo, an ex-independent daimyo, or certainly an ex-shogun. But what next? What next, indeed? Oh god, we've still got 45 minutes to go. Right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take just 1 minute. Oh, is that new separatist over there? So I'm going to leave it paused on this, the 1st of February. I'm going to leave it open on a stat screen that you guys can look at if you want. In fact, I'll leave it on the scores. Because we may well see, oh no, the Tributeers actually outranking Hispania due to their participation in all these wars. Just about holding on there. Right, I'll let you guys look at that. I'm literally just going to be 2 minutes, less than 2 minutes. I'm just going to grab a milkshake so I don't die. I'll be back in a sec. We didn't even have a chance to go all the way around the world. I'm back. Having had 2 mouthfuls of an actual kid's milkshake that I bought myself for my 30th birthday. Because I'm a cool guy. We are back. Would the rebel occupations make the provinces not count regarding Japan? Potentially. I've got no idea how it works. I think the Japan decision is a relatively unique one when it comes to forming countries. Because usually you just need, a couple of core provinces. But for Japan, it's specifically you need to wipe out all the other daimyos. So a lot of troop movement, but I think it's all the colonizers heading off to the New World. What have the Tributeers got? Economic ideas? Reasonable enough. What would I like the Tributeers to get? Probably quality next. I don't think they're going to go quality next. I think they're going to do... I'm taking bets they're going to go espionage next and really disappoint me. Because it's been a while since they've taken a diplomatic idea. If they want to win the game, take quality. Helps your boats, helps your troops. You can beat up Hispania. Are the Crimson Bits? I don't think the Crimson Bits are. No, the Crimson Bits are just Pisa. I think they were Tribute's vassal at some point, but they must have broken free, which is really bad for Tribute, to be honest, because Genoa is an amazing province to have. It's up to 30 development, it's paper, it's a center trade for the Genoa node. So that is directly 12% of Genoa trade that could be tributes. It could take away from Valencia and Garovdesh. It could add the Tributeers would be the #1 trading power in Genoa, as well as having this much of Venice. What is this song? I'm liking this song. This is great. This is North Exit Vengeance Path. The Curonia. Allied to Yarnum. I think Yarnum are the big mover and shaker here. Because it's Yarnum who bring in the Tributeers. That's the only real outside link the Tributeers have, is with Yarnum. If Yarnum somehow get caught by a trailing alliance with Cagliari, Luxembourg, etc., and they can't bring in the Tributeers, then they're in a little bit of trouble. Oh. Whoa. We're trying again. Let's go round again. For Hispania and King Gilles Revanche. What? They're going for... I think this is this a trade dispute war? What's the actual CB here? Because the war goal is to blockade ports. And that's something that Hispania will do so much better. Oh, you can see that Hispania in the meantime have spread up. They're nearly touching Jabaraland. But Jabaraland have friends. And it's Hispania by themselves. Punjabi Prison not in this one. Did they cancel? If they cancelled, it was cancelled a long time ago. Jabaraland and Shambhala. Potentially the world's 3 biggest armies. Gonna fight a naval war. How exciting. Yep, Shambhala, Hispania. And then Jabaraland all the way down here. That's minuscule, actually. They need innovative ideas. They need to take quantity ideas. And fast. So let's see how this one goes. Because if the war goal is blockading provinces, then how much will taking all this actually help? Because you can see the big old trade navies coming around just now. These fleets probably aren't going to hold up to much. Oh, there's been a landing on the west as well. A big old army. Slavis Bay, allied with Matamba, for goodness sake. Still subsidizing Epiphany. Still wanting nothing. But Hispania have actually done this war properly. They've got a more manageable war goal. They've landed the armies. Jabaraland pretty much have to wait for Shambhala to come along, if they will at all. And that was a big old fleet. 27 transport ships in that one. But will they be able to come over and break this blockade? As you can see, 0.3 war score for taking the best province down there, the Cape of Good Hope itself. And Hispania just covering Jabaraland, getting a whole lot more war score than they are. The Jabaraland needs to consolidate its armies, needs to start trying to crush. Where's this fort? If either of these forts fall, it's game over. What do Hispania actually want? They want the gold provinces for sure. They don't want this west coast, they want the east coast. Armies beginning to move in, but if they move in piecemeal, it's not a great plan. This could be an interesting one. No, the army's escaping. So what's the tech at? So it's 17. That's caught up quite a bit from when we last saw it, I think. 17 versus 20. Not great. This is just a top album. This is my new EU4 album. So where's this army going? Where's this? Where is this 13,000 artillery? You know what? I was interested in seeing what these guys would do, and now I'm not. I have no trust in a 13,000 artillery only army. I have no faith in my ability to consistently pronounce artillery only army. So is this Shambhala just making its way past the Punjabi prison? If they're gonna walk all the way down there, it's gonna take them a while. Psst, lads, the army's gone. Who could potentially all jump on Shambhala? And their laundry list of actual good allies, for goodness sake. what next for Yharnam? They're big armies, but by the time they get down to Africa... well, there we go. Jabariland has actually got its armies together. But they have lost that fort. In fact, they've lost both forts. So they're going to need to siege those back. In the meantime, if they get their blockades going, which they haven't bothered with yet, because, to be fair, how this works, and what's quite interesting, is that this is now Hispania's closest fort from which they can blockade the East Coast from. Because they have now lost South Africa, which means they probably don't have the supply range to blockade the east coast of Jabariland sufficiently. So if these guys could just play a game of cat and mouse, indeed, if they can take away that siege, oh dear. If they could somehow get Mbamba back, and that puts their nearest port over in St. Helena, then they're actually looking quite good for resisting naval blockades. We need just like the Lord of the Rings music in the background or something. Oh, if Jabariland end up not losing this war, thanks to the very, very late intervention of Shambhala, it's like we'll just play, like, I don't know. Is that an alliance of Mahasada? Who could do such a thing? Mahasada are going back in on the Hive. And Mahasada brought with them Chagora, so that's not a good look. Who is this? Jiazu? 40,000 set. Oh no. We're Colombia. You were so close. Where's your armies? What actually are your armies? Have you only got 1,000 troops? Not like this way, Colombia. Not when you were so close. You can kind of see the Jabari army getting beaten down whenever the 10th army, Lorenzo de Portugal, whenever he wants. Beaten back there. Slavis Bay, building troops. Moving troops around. Maharaja Fasin Seku. That's Mbaku, no. I'm an idiot. And still, they want for nothing. JBT is paying their armies. So is fair. Legofia desperately trying to suck up to the tributaries. As you would, honestly, as you would. Mother Base actually lost the tip of Arabia to Hadia. Noted perhaps former ally of Jabariland, now allied with Nicosonia. This could be overkill. Well, actually, what's the tech level at for Shambhala? 18? Not too far behind. At the very least, this will slow down Shambhala's conquest through India. The 3-star general, though, is Lorenzo. A 5510. So they've stopped the stack wipe happening. As soon as that army got caught, I think they did need to pile all their troops in there, because otherwise it's a stack wipe, and they're in a lot of trouble. But here we have Shambhala taking back the forts. And the forts are going to fall quickly. Interesting. How many armies have they got? Like, got a 54k stack with a 3-star general at home. Led by the king himself, Gila Revanche. So the army is actually all the way back in Mbamba. There's only a very narrow loss on war score now. We could be seeing another white piece here. Ah, we've had an army land round there and take back South Africa. Not great news. Jabaraland still don't want that land, which is unfortunate. Is this just our reenactment of the movie Zulu? I remember seeing that on television once. Recognizing what it was. Have they properly just gone? No, they haven't. They're standing their ground. They're protecting the port, though. The huge stack is still there. But yeah, if they get cut off, which they're about to, this is the perfect Schlieffen plan. Sweep round the north, cut off the ports, kill the armies. We have to, of course, double check. Everything's still fine over here, right? There's no Hispanian armies just making their way through Russia. I thought it didn't look like there were too many occupations, but yeah, 2 forts are down. Even though Chagoras don't seem to be helping that much, Mahasada are playing their own way. So you see there, the chance to inherit it's not going to happen. Hispania aren't going to randomly inherit Garavdesh, but they could well integrate them. And that's what we'll check at the end of the stream. So the occupations are all gone, and as you can see, that army is making a break for somewhere. And it's a proper wrecking ball of an army. It would take a whole lot of luck and a whole lot of factors going in their favour for this army to win. Narwaha Erwin. That's genuinely, oof. The heir to Shambhala is down in Zimbabwe right now. Oh, battle. Double the numbers for Shambhala and more to come. Epiphany versus Tolerant Left. That's wishful thinking. Oh no. That's the worst amphibious landing I've seen in my life. I mean, they've gone for it. How do Epiphany have 60,000 themselves? I was like, right, who are they allied to? But it's just all Epiphanies. So they've gone for the ambitious amphibious landing. I kind of feel that they should have gone for, you know, one of the rubbish ones like Brittany, Overstick, the Delegation, one of those. One of those that they'd actually win. Meanwhile, the Tributaire is still doing a lot of nothing. That particular army, I think, might be the same one. Probably not, but it could be. Incidentally, look at how far Yarnum are behind on admin tech because of how much they've had to spend on coring. We'll just quickly bring up tech. 2020 seems to be the standard. And then those who have conquered more, like the Tolerant Left, Curonia, let's have a look. Yeah, they're falling behind in admin tech. So Hispania decided to start conquering. Oh, hello. Communist Luxembourg throwing a bit of a spoiler in there. Hello, friends. We are also here. It'll be in. Does that stop the Hispanian retreat all the way to South Africa? Because if it did, that's quite funny. Yeah, they're still allied as well, though. So it's, yeah. Hispania gives military access to Communist Luxembourg. All I can say to that is boo. Hold on. Yeah. Did you see that almost instant retreat there from the Allied armies? They had, I think they outnumbered them, but they absolutely did not have the quality. They need to get all their armies in on this one army. They can pick off the tiny stacks, all the better. I was surprised that 5k was enough to wipe that 3k stack. Against Mondu and Gyeonlin. Gyeonlin are doing this thing again, where they take all the dodgy states around here as tributaries and just get dragged into stupid wars. So that's another chunk out of Gyeonlin for the Punjabi prison. The Hive are putting up a bit of a fight here. I mean, they're still absolutely going to lose, but this is taking quite some time. We're Colombia. They're going down to these separatists. They're even... Jiaozu have even landed. We're Colombia, they came so close. But yet, so far, the Gachi are up. It's just a matter of time before glorious Nippon is back on the map as well. They've even taken Kyoto. Also, that's their capital, of course it is. God, imagine if after all this, We're Colombia finally fight off everyone, and then just these glorious separatists take all of Japan. How galling would that be? Noble rebels in particular now. While we're here, I'm just curious, we'll keep this game going, but I'm just looking for stability in here. We're Colombia not doing well for themselves, but they're really the only ones. Batnakia still exists. Notably, Garavdesh troops in Teshuvah, could they be coming all the way down here? Right, they're seizing that fort. Go, 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 go. Even if you're crossing the river, smash them at this fort in the jungle. This could be it. Look at how close the morale is, even with all the... Like, until the last reinforcements came in. Right, now they need to follow that army and kill it. Oh, beautiful. Is that it? Was that a wipe? I'm pretty sure that was a wipe. Mwah. Invaders repelled. For now. Gonna be another white piece. That is Shambhala pieced out. That was... It wasn't quite a white piece, it was slightly more than a white piece. So it was just a tad over 5 years rather than exactly 5 years. Unless I've got that wrong. So why have they done this? How is Slavers Bay? Slavers Bay doing a bit better in military? I want to see them try and invade Slavers Bay. I think Slavers Bay would rock them. It'd be nice if they had some forts, but at least they're stopping the passage from the north. I was going to say, I'm assuming there's white piece over here, but no, the Tolerant left to try it again. What they could do, they could absolutely sail all the way around to Corsica. Land on Corsica, take that. Land on Catalonia, take that. They'll have the naval superiority to do whatever they want. It's just if they're trying to land troops in Epiphany themselves, they need a whole lot of troops. Minus 12 from battles and getting beaten down. Noble rebels, particularists now. Communist Luxembourg in a bit of trouble. If they lose that alliance with Hispania, they're dead in the water. Even and perhaps especially given their colonial ambitions. The Jubaland have gone back into South Africa. This war is ongoing. Hispania still have positive war score. They've won enough battles for that. But the occupations will now swing towards Jubaland. Hold on. How did Epiphany get up this land? You can see the Argentinian and probably some Mexican armies around here as well. There we go, we kind of solidify Chigoris in the middle, delegation to the north, and leftist with everything else. A bit of Luxembourg in there. But this is the big old threat. Hispania taking the entire eastern coast. I say the entire eastern coast. The lighter blue is Gorovdesh, of course. We'll keep checking. And of course they can't start integrating Gorovdesh while in a war. But as soon as they're out of this war, they could be integrating them. We have a fight here. A not very well coordinated one, given that there's no general in for the Jubaland side. I'm going to be honest. Oh, hello, what is going on over here? Right, this could be a big one. So this is Rhein-Neckar have declared a war. Rhein-Neckar, what have you done? What have you done? They dug too deeply. Their greed got the best of them, and now they are at war with the Holy Roman Emperor. So that was actually a major alliance for Rhein-Neckar. And indeed, that was a major alliance for Apulia with Hansereich. So Hansereich are going to be way down on allies. But they do have the Tolerant left. They have Tver. Interesting. But Rhein-Neckar, they don't have any major allies left. They just declared war on the one major ally they had. And Yarnum just looking at this going, well, what do we have here? I could genuinely see Yarnum turning this around and just immediately smashing Rhein-Neckar. You see Rhein-Neckar, no, it's the Tolerant left reaching out to them. But it's just such a bad decision. I can't believe they've done... Still, I can't believe you've done this. I can't believe you've done this. That's Apulia. Potentially in a lot of trouble as well for joining in this one. God, this is not what we wanted to happen in the last 15 minutes of the session. Hansa Reich beating down Rhein-Neckar over here. This is a war for Oversticht, if I'm not mistaken. Rhein-Neckar in, and Rhein-Neckar will eventually win this battle because their reinforcements will get in. Hansa Reich running away, as well they should. Live to fight another day. Good lads. Gunther von Dinslaken. The militarist, the 544 militarist. 46, he should last a little longer yet. But Rhein-Neckar have to be so careful now. They were the dominant force in the middle of Europe. Yardam went and picked up a lot more land and a lot more allies. So now what? How do the tributaries and their militarist Alighiero and Telminelli feel? Oh no. Oh no. This could be what the tributaries need to keep level with Hispania, though. What must be sacrificed to keep Hispania from winning? If the answer is everything in Germany up into and excluding Hansa Reich, then that's just the way it has to be. So this war ongoing. And because the war goal is blockade, Jabarland aren't going to win this one. At best, they're going to get a white peace. We could see Hispania potentially going in on Rhein-Neckar for the sake of Garavdesh. I don't think we will, but it could happen. Best case scenario here, for the sake of Germany. I don't know what the best case scenario is. I feel it's either Rhein-Neckar get what they want very quickly and peace out, or it's Rhein-Neckar take literally everything and they are the country to beat. Oh no. Tributaries, what have you done? Of all people! Of all people to finally remember that Teshuvah exists. How could you do this? So that is the tributaries finally putting their navy to some use, but the most dominant fleet in the Mediterranean looks like it's on the losing side here against Ismail Onsang. Look at the numbers here. But the heavy ships sinking them by the dozen. The tributary fleet has been hit back there, but they've caught the Aydin transport fleet over here. So this is actually quite the war. It's the tributaries against Aydin Teshuvah. I think they're against one more. Catalonia as well. That's an interesting one. So that is Oversticht completely taken out by Rhein-Neckar. Rhein-Neckar are going to win this one. But it's how much damage have they done to themselves long term. Hello? How has this happened? Were they... I don't actually understand. Oh, that'll be it. Epiphany forced them... See, thank God Solas is here. This would be such a rubbish stream without Solas. Of course, Epiphany would have forced them to return cores. So it was up at like minus 30 war score. That'll be the minus 25 for not taking Co. And about 10 from losing battles, I'd guess. So Aporia could be losing a lot to Steiermark here. despite being on the side of Rhein-Neckar. Oh no, here comes Rhein-Neckar to actually save them. Or are they? Are they giving it up? Afraid of the Hansa Reich army there. The delegation have to be looking at this and thinking, you know what? This could be our opportunity to jump on Oversticht, because surely Rhein-Neckar aren't going to take it all. They might want to, but they're not going to do it. Teshuvah have taken over Salerno. So it's Teshuvah who have made the first successful amphibious landing in this Mediterranean war. The tributaries, in fact, they've gone after Catalonia. They'll knock out Catalonia quite quickly. It's like, what is this war? They do now want everything. They're still a merchant republic. God, you've even got them over there. Overstick taking out very eastern Apulia. So this war still ongoing. Have they landed another army? They haven't, but they've got a navy over there. It's wiping out the Jabarland transport fleet. Kamenots have very nearly eliminated Nadir is what that is. The Tally Ho live on. But the Punjabi prison have taken a whole chunk out of Gyan Lane, and Shambhala's truces will soon be up. The Gyan Lane not long for this world. If Gyan Lane die before both the Tally Ho and Nadir Shah, what is even the point? And we see the tributaries have landed in the west. Did they land or did they come all the way around? Surely they didn't get access from their rival and enemy Hispania. But perhaps Catalonia got access and that allowed the tributaries to walk round. A fatally flawed mistake. Terrible mistake. It's a slight mistake. Groningen's still on the map. Artolia's still on the map, in fact. That's the miracle here. Artolia still on the map and still have allies. The delegation are allowing to live by stealing all their trade power. And they have Ostfriesland, actually, which is an estuary. That'll actually help them out. The Rhein-Neckar. How are they losing this? It's because of the occupations on Apulia that war score is negative. Of all the rulers to be named nowhere, I think Archon is probably the most suitable for it. Like, literally true. Yeah, minus 36 from battles would do it. What? At last getting into quantity ideas. Apart from that, they only have offensive. So land leader and maneuver, land leader fire, discipline. There's some good stuff in there. And I think the Rhein-Neckar army is winning when it swings its wrecking ball at people. But here we have Hansa Reich actually unsieging the war objective. And they're going to get that siege back. I think it's kind of that Rhein-Neckar can only be in so many places at once, and when you have so many disparate targets, up and down and all around, so much for the new Nero Empire. Maybe they'll get all of Ireland this time. All of Ireland and these islands. Oh no, the new Nero Empire completely surrounded by the delegation. Wait, hold on. Speaking of kicking off, are we going to do this again? Are we going to do this again? This time with no Hispania. So the delegation, it is their own attack. They've got trustworthy Artolia beside them. Will that be enough? Exploration, trade, and then no quantity ideas versus nearly full Oh, as soon as they get that last quantity idea, they're rolling. He has twice as many troops, you say? He hasn't even unlocked the quantity idea that gives you plus 50% force limit. The Reformation, Reconciliation, and Revenge of Epiphany. So, Aporia. Did they just get knocked out of the wars? The whole war over? I think they got knocked out. But they didn't lose anything? Did tribute take espionage? We don't know. I don't know when we'll be able to tell. I don't know when the next ideas are at. Tribute has an army down very deep into the Sahara Desert. And here comes the next one. Here comes the 50k. Catalonia, I imagine, have been knocked out. That's why they're not occupied. They're actually involved in defending Epiphany. As are Corsica. The delegation did manage to take Rheims, but I imagine not for very long. How does the fort situation look? So, the delegation can just walk right into Paris. If they had the troops and allies to do so. Which they absolutely do not. Have Aporia been forced to give up their allies? They've been forced to give up Hunterreich. They could just take all the provinces. That'd be simpler. In any case, the clock has chimed 11. The calendar has chimed 1664 for our end date here. So as always, load up any questions you want answered. We'll be jumping into countries. We will be jumping into the ledger. So that's just Rhein-Neckar now versus the world. Versus vaguely different German states. Hispania have declared peace with Jabariland. There is no change in Jabariland's structural integrity. Nor is there any change to Hispania in South Africa. The tributaries are now diving into Teshuva. Oh, it was Salerno, not Corsica, and the tributaries are there. Rhein-Neckar could force Steiermark to give Apulia provinces back. If they win. Which is looking like a... Right. Huh? Interesting. Very interesting. I very much wanted to pause that, but as we're pausing in 20 days anyway. Oh, big old battle. Hanselreich versus Rhein-Neckar. And we'll never know who would go on to win. Who do we think's winning this? The advantage on tactics, the advantage on morale. But fewer troops on the line, it should be Hanselreich. Yep. On this, the 4th of January 1664, we're going to save the game. And we're out. So, anything fun happen in Eastern Europe / Western Asia? So we had... Hello? Nothing's going on, let's continue. Oh, no. So what's happened here? Have Achaemenia done it again? So Achaemenia have lost all their allies. They've thrown them all away in aggressive wars that they lost. And this is Mother Base's opportunity. Mother Base have declared a war. The reconquest of Muscat, getting their provinces back down here, back in their own hands. They've brought with them Ganja and Monorohan. So one must expect that Monorohan will be getting something from that war. And what do Mother Base want? They want the entire coast. Achaemenia were in such good position and they've thrown it all away. To be fair, that's not as frustrating. If it was Achaemenia just like getting unlucky, then that's annoying. But Achaemenia were absolutely going to finish like second on the rate they were going. And then they just threw it all away by declaring 2 rubbish aggressive wars. So, I forgot to actually look at the Epiphany versus Luxembourg war. But this treaty is doing some work. Because this is Luxembourg. And this is the war. Relatively even on infantry, but then you look at the difference in cavalry that Yharnam are bringing. I don't know why they're bringing so many cavalry. It's quite inefficient in this day and age, don't you know? And then when combined with the war against the delegation, because here's the thing, this is why the delegation declared this war. The delegation have double the number of troops. But where are those troops? I mean, what we can do, we can look. We can see, delegation, where are your troops? Look at all these merchants, by the way. Why are they building a spy network in Mahasada? Why actually are they... You know what? I don't care. I don't care. Let's pretend we never saw this. So their armies are there. Notably, nowhere near Epiphany. Their second biggest army is there. Oh, this looks like a significant army. There it is in Catalonia. Oh, where's this 9,000? They literally don't have a single army in their homeland. They have the numbers, they have the strength to win. They're not going to use it. But the spanner in the works... Oops, that's not what I want. Is Epiphany. And what's going to happen to them? So they have their armies in good positions. But they're up against Luxembourg, who are already sieging Paris. And Yarnum. Where's the Yarnum armies? Yarnum army! They have 2 armies, they're 30k, and one's already there, the other one's coming. So that's a pretty good straight up battle. But when you take into account that Epiphany, well, how's the manpower doing? Not great, because they'll have been sieging down, they are still sieging down Antwerpen. So if they can get out of this war with the delegation quickly, once that siege goes down, they'll be able to get out of that war. But will they? Who knows? They could have a straight up fight with Luxembourg and Yarnum. They might be able to win it. Because they just have to knock out Luxembourg. They don't have to knock out Yarnum. It was interesting. It's finally poised. This would be the time for the tolerant left to gallop all their armies. And attack someone. Probably not Epiphany, but attack someone. What do the tributaries want? They do actually have a militarist. Albeit he's 58 and he's about to die. He's a 336. And he wants it all. If we jump into the tributaries, you can see their republican tradition isn't especially great because they are a large merchant republic. They can only have 20 provinces, they've got 21. Well, they can only have 20 stated provinces. As you can see, they are getting nothing from Roma, actually. They don't have Roma stated. They don't have Napoli stated. This is the problem of being a merchant republic. So if we look at Napoli and Roma, we see 28, we see 30 development, but 75% autonomy. They're getting nothing from it. Occupation is Pretender Rebels in Garavdesh. 24k, it's not going to really do much. .0% of the way towards enforcing their demand. So if we jump to Hispaniola, we'll be able to see Garavdesh in here, and we can see their Liberty Desire. And they're just not that powerful compared to Hispania, which is their problem. They're not really going to be able to break out of this without masses of Pretender Rebels, etc. So if we're Hispania, we can integrate as soon as we have relations up there. And they can just about get the relations up there. They're going to have a problem with the neighbouring heretic religion. But once they actually... the 33 days, they've not been improving it for too long. They might not ever integrate Garavdesh, but they don't really need to. So the war goal is to blockade ports. Can they actually take land with this? Let's look at that as well. 107 ships lost compared to 78. So the famous tributary navy is just lying at the bottom of the Mediterranean. Indeed, look at the relative closeness of the armies as well. That'll be why Tribute has a 3-star general just sitting all of his army on the single fort. Something I saw earlier before the start of the session, which I'll show you now. And I imagine it's still true. Army losses by attrition, Tribute is up there. Way up there. If you sort it by battle, the tributaries aren't even at the top. But in total, they're up there, and it's thanks to their attrition. Anything else that we want to look at? What? Ryukyu. From Okinawa, Paragonea have declared an offensive war against Weabolumbia for Kyoto. For Kyoto! So Weabolumbia. This is what I wanted to check as well, actually. They are very much in the middle of internal conflicts. Oh, they're not going to break because they're at war. Interesting. Because obviously, Kyoto was going to flip to the rebels, flip to glorious Nippon. But because of this aggressive war, Paragonea and their free transports and their 6,000 troops, who can only just siege this fort, they've stopped them from breaking and they're taking it for themselves. It's bold. It's very bold, I'll give them that. The Hive are back at positive stability and they are actually out of that disaster. Heartwarming to see. Once they get some prestige, they could invite Alama to settle in their country. I imagine from Mahasada. Their alliance is breaking with Kamenot. Yanlane almost certainly on the way out. Shambhala in the ascendancy. Who's actually got the most development? Because I've lost sight of that. Shambhala may well be the first to 1,000 now. Because Jabariland were right up there, but obviously they haven't really had the opportunity to be aggressive with the Spaniard breeding down the neck. Whereas Shambhala have continued to cut down Australia Major, they've continued to cut down Gyan Lane. So Shambhala are going to be the first to break 1,000. But broadly, everyone, all the Asian countries up there, all the successful Asian countries up there, Hispania, the only one anywhere near close from Europe. Rhine Neckar and Yharnam neck and neck. The tributaries building up their treasury again. When do the next idea sets unlock? 22. So very soon, we'll see the tributaries take espionage. So is there anyone else looking for anything just now? Because remember, this will be... I'm not doing this next week. I was planning on doing it, but I figured, no, it's just too much work during the week. I'd rather focus on studying for my exam. And then the session in 2 weeks is right before my exam, which is the next morning. So I want to be like in bed by 11, not chatting to the internet by 11. Yeah, Bogota did really well for themselves. And they're doing even better for themselves, despite having 11 Miltech. Because if we come into Communist Luxembourg and we look at our subjects, you can see that none of them have troops. And I bet if we go into them, they can barely even afford troops. So that's why you see, like, the Tolerant Left, they've been successful. Because they've now left Mexico with their own army. But that's why they had their own armies over there for so long. Now that leftist Mexico are established, now that Argentina, they're not really established. It's taken them that long to actually build up armies. So we see manufactories spreading pretty quickly. Oh, we've even got printing press over here in Gyan Lane. See, that's what Gyan Lane are for. Bringing in the printing press quicker, bringing in the Renaissance and colonialism quicker. And Shambhala just kill him for it. It's a goddamn shame. So yeah, I'm going to have one last look, see if there's any wars we might have missed. Because obviously there's a hell of a lot going on right now. And my mouse is just falling off the table, which isn't very helpful. So a lot going on, a lot to look forward to when we come back in, what, 3 weeks' time? But if there's nothing else just now to talk about, I'm going to say we leave it there. So I'm going to say thank you very much for watching. And this has been a lot more fun than I thought. Every time I come into this, like with something hanging over my head, like an essay or an exam, I'm like, oh, I don't really want to do this. I should be doing other things. It's not going to be that fun. The score. Good point, young man. We did see it earlier, but we'll show it again. That should be the last thing we see. The Tributaries, last I checked, they're holding on. They're getting themselves mixed up in just enough wars to keep boosting their ranking so that Hispania can't overtake them. I thought they'd have been overtaken sessions ago, but they're still there. Garabdesh massively falling down the table. Shambhala making their way up. The Tolerant Left still up there, despite their diplomatic rating taking a huge tanking. I think Tolerant Left will start making their way up there. I think this is your top three. Tributaries, Hispania, Tolerant Left. I think Hispania are going to win. I know, controversial. But I really thought they'd have overtaken ages ago, and they haven't. They're not even gaining on them right now. Who's actually gaining fastest? Chigoris coming back up that. Interesting. I feel like the top three is really interesting. As you can see, the delegation, even despite all that they've done, they're still getting so much because they're actually first in diplomacy. They've got the fleet, they've got the trade, they've got everything. In the diplomatic category, they don't have military or admin. Well, I suppose they are getting points for their military, somehow. How are they getting points for their military? Who knows? In any case, it is all still to play for. Here's the thing. The reason I've written off the Tributaries so often, so many times, is because they're a merchant republic. If they start taking more land, and they break themselves out of being a merchant republic, which they could potentially do, I guess. That's still, Right, I've broken the game. But don't worry, we're about to quit and we're not saving this anyway. So, I'd say all still to play for. Hispania haven't won it all yet. They're the most powerful country in the world. But they're not winning. At least not yet. So that's where I'll leave you today. I'll say thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in 3 weeks.